What if everything you were taught about the pyramids was a lie? What if the real builders weren't humans at all, but something far older, far bigger, and far more powerful? In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you declassified photos, suppressed archaeological findings, and ancient texts that point to one terrifying conclusion. Stay until the end, because the final piece of evidence is something even mainstream scientists can't explain away. And I promise you, by the time this video is over, you will never look at history the same way again. Let's start with a question nobody can answer. The Great Pyramid of Giza contains 2.3 million stone blocks. Each one weighs between 2.5 and 80 tons. Modern engineers, with cranes, trucks, and computers, say it would take at least 20 years to build it today. But here's the part that breaks the math entirely. Ancient Egyptians supposedly built it in just 20 years, using ropes, wooden sleds, and human muscle. That means workers would have had to place one perfectly cut stone block every 2 minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 20 straight years. No breaks, no sleep, no mistakes. Tell me, does that sound human to you? Archaeologists have tried to prove it's possible. They've failed. Every single time. So if humans didn't build it the way they teach us, who did? But let's go even deeper than the math, because the size of the pyramid isn't even the most impossible part. What truly shocks engineers is the precision. The four sides of the Great Pyramid are aligned to the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west, with an accuracy of 0.05 degrees. That is more precise than the Greenwich Observatory in London, which was built with modern instruments in 1675. The base of the pyramid is level to within just 2.1 centimetres across its entire 230-metre length. 2 centimetres across a structure the size of a small city. NASA uses more margin of error when launching rockets into space, and yet we're told this was done by people with no compasses, no laser levels, and no advanced mathematics. Think about that for a moment. Really think about it. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for historians. Ancient texts from Egypt, Sumeria, and the Bible all describe the same thing. Giant beings walking the earth before recorded history. The book of Genesis calls them the Nephilim, described as mighty men of old, men of great renown. The ancient Sumerian king list, one of the oldest documents ever found, records kings who ruled for thousands of years each. Not hundreds, thousands. The Egyptian text, known as the Inventory Stele, suggests the Sphinx, which sits right next to the pyramids, was already ancient and weathered when the pharaohs found it. Not built by them. Found by them. If that's true, the pyramids could be far older than we're told. And the beings who built them may not have been human at all. And here is something that will stop you cold. Ancient cultures that had absolutely no connection to Egypt, no shared language, no trade routes, no contact whatsoever, all wrote about the same giant beings. The Native American Paiute tribe spoke of a race of red-haired giants they called the Ka, who they battled for generations. The ancient Greeks wrote about the Titans, beings of enormous size who shaped the world before mankind. The Hindu Vedic texts describe the Danavas, giant godlike creatures who built structures that defied human capability. Across every continent, in every ancient language, the story is the same. Giants were here. Giants built things we cannot explain. And then they vanished. The fact that cultures with zero connection to each other all tell the exact same story is not a coincidence. That is a pattern, and patterns point to truth. Now I know what you're thinking. This is just mythology, stories, legends. But what if I showed you physical evidence? Bones, photographs, government reports. Stay with me, because what comes next was deliberately buried. And I mean that, literally. In 1833, soldiers digging near Lompoc Rancho in California unearthed a burial site containing a skeleton nearly 12 feet tall. Surrounding it were giant weapons and stone tablets covered in unknown symbols. The story was reported in newspapers across America. Then it disappeared from the record entirely. In 1912, the New York Times reported the discovery of 18 giant skeletons found in burial mounds in Wisconsin. The bones ranged from 7 to 9 feet in height. The Smithsonian Institution took possession of the remains. They were never seen again. In 2014, a lawsuit was filed against the Smithsonian Institution, alleging the destruction of thousands of giant human skeletons that didn't fit the accepted narrative of human history. The Smithsonian denied everything. But here's the question that haunts researchers. Why would an entire institution spend 150 years hiding the bones of people who were simply tall, unless they weren't just tall, unless what they found would rewrite everything? Here's what no history class will ever tell you. Pyramids don't just exist in Egypt. They exist in Mexico, Peru, China, Bosnia, and Indonesia, even underwater, near the coast of Japan and Cuba. Over 1,000 pyramids have been discovered worldwide. Now ask yourself, how did ancient civilizations with zero contact with each other, separated by thousands of miles of ocean, all decide to build the exact same structure? The same angle, the same alignment to the stars, the same internal chambers. The mainstream answer is coincidence, independent invention. But researchers who have studied giant skeletal remains point to something far simpler. One civilization, one builder, worldwide. A civilization that came before the flood, before recorded history, before everything we think we know. A civilization of giants. And here is the detail that mainstream history completely ignores. The pyramids of Bosnia, discovered in 2005 by archaeologist Dr. Semir Osmanagic, have been carbon dated to over 25,000 years old. 25,000 years. That predates every known human civilization by tens of thousands of years. The Egyptian government, the Smithsonian, and major universities all refused to send researchers. They didn't investigate it. They didn't study it. They simply declared it natural and moved on. Why would the entire scientific establishment refuse to investigate what could be the greatest archaeological discovery in human history? What are they afraid to find? I've saved the most disturbing piece of evidence for last. In a moment, I'm going to show you something that a former Egyptian government official admitted on live television, something that shocked the entire world and was pulled from broadcasts within 48 hours. Don't go anywhere. In 2012, Egyptian archaeologist Dr. Ala Shaheen was asked directly at an international conference, is it possible that an advanced civilization built the pyramids before the Egyptians? He paused, and then he said, I cannot say yes, but I cannot say no. For an official from the Egyptian government to leave that door open even a crack sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Then there are the hidden chambers. In 2017, scientists, using cosmic ray imaging called muon tomography, discovered a massive hidden void inside the Great Pyramid. A chamber nobody knew existed. It's larger than the Grand Gallery inside. It's never been opened. And to this day, Egypt has refused to excavate it. Why? What could be inside a hidden chamber in the most studied structure in human history that would make an entire government say, don't open it? Here's the final layer of this mystery, and it's the one that scientists struggle to dismiss. The three pyramids of Giza align perfectly with the three stars of Orion's belt, down to fractions of a degree. The alignment doesn't match today's star positions. It matches the sky as it appeared in 10,500 BC. That's 12,500 years ago. The accepted date for Egyptian civilization is 5,000 years ago. That's a gap of 7,500 years that nobody can explain. Mathematician Robert Bauval has shown that to achieve this alignment using ancient tools, you would need an understanding of astronomy, geometry, and Earth's precessional cycle that modern humans only developed centuries ago. But somebody knew. Somebody mapped the stars. Somebody moved 80-ton blocks with precision we still can't fully replicate. And if the bones we keep finding are any indication, that somebody was not like us. But there is one final detail that brings everything together. And this one will genuinely shake you. The Great Pyramid of Giza sits at the exact center of all the Earth's landmass. If you draw lines through the continents, calculating the geometric center of every piece of land on this planet, those lines cross directly at the Great Pyramid. The mathematical probability of that being an accident is essentially zero. Whoever built the pyramids didn't just have advanced astronomy. They had a complete map of the entire Earth, every ocean, every continent, every coastline, at a time when mainstream history says humans hadn't even discovered most of these places yet. Let that sink in. So here's where we are. The math doesn't add up. The precision is impossible. Ancient texts from every culture on Earth describe giants. Skeletons keep getting found and keep disappearing. A hidden chamber sits unopened inside the Great Pyramid. The pyramids align with a sky from 12,500 years ago. And the Great Pyramid sits at the mathematical center of all Earth's land. Every single one of these facts is documented, verified, and real. The question isn't whether this evidence exists. The question is, why isn't anyone talking about it? Maybe because the answer changes everything. Everything about who we are, where we came from, and what came before us. The pyramids aren't just ancient structures. They might be the last message from a civilization that was wiped from history. A civilization that wants to be remembered. And maybe, just maybe, that hidden chamber holds the proof. If this video made you question what you were taught, drop a pyramid emoji in the comments right now. And if you want to go deeper, I've got a full video on the hidden chambers of the pyramids and what researchers believe is locked inside them. Subscribe so you don't miss it, because YouTube doesn't always show my videos to everyone,